Welcome back to the Explainer. You did it. You actually did it. You navigated all the crazy complexities, wrestled with the different models, and finally finished your AI Capstone project. Honestly, before we do literally anything else, just take a breath. Maybe grab some coffee. You brought everything off the page and created a real, tangible piece of finished work. But before we completely close the book on this course, we have one final, absolutely vital step to take together. And that brings us to a massive, crucial question. Yes, you finished the capstone, but did you actually learn how you work? You know, it's so incredibly easy to just hit submit and walk away, right? But I want us to shift your mindset right now, from simply checking a project off your to-do list to actively calibrating your intuition for the future. Because here's the secret. The deliverable itself, that's really only half the prize. The real value is the self-awareness you've just generated. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the power of synthesis. Then we'll descend into some tactical exercises like reviewing your tools and spotting your AI patterns. After that, we'll build your ultimate toolkit, do a final reflection, and then zoom all the way back out to look at life and true AI fluency after this course.
All right, Section 1, the power of synthesis. I literally cannot emphasize the stakes of this enough. Without this final step, your working capstone is, frankly, only half a deliverable.
Okay, let's dive into this. Without synthesis, what do you really have? Well, you essentially just have a messy folder of files on your hard drive and a bunch of lessons that are going to fade from your memory faster than a temporary password. But with synthesis, it's a real game changer. You transform all that raw, messy evidence into powerful, usable intuition. You walk away with a crystal clear sense of how you actually work with AI when the stakes are high. And honestly, that is the whole point of this entire journey.
So how do we actually build that intuition? We're going to work our way through 5 specific exercises. We'll do a tool review, run a workflow retrospective, observe your patterns, update your toolkit, and lock the whole shebang in with a one-page reflection. Let's tackle those first 2 right now.
Moving right into Section 2, Reviewing Tools and Workflows. This is our retrospective phase, where we look backward at the tools you used and the actual real-world shape of the work you just finished.
When you're listing out the major models you used, you've got to be brutally honest here. Look at Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, all of them. Did a tool actually earn its keep by doing something the others just couldn't? Was it totally replaceable? Or is the final verdict a hard skip, meaning you spent, 40 minutes fighting with a stubborn prompt when you could have just done the task yourself in 10? That brutal honesty is exactly what builds good habits.
Next up, contrast the actual phases of your project. Think back. Identify exactly where your work just flowed, where using the AI felt like a totally natural extension of your own brain. Then compare that to where you hit a massive brick wall. Was it an endless, frustrating cycle of prompt tweaking? Did your own indecision paralyze you? Or did the verification process take literally hours? Pinpointing those exact bottlenecks is how you make sure you avoid them next time around.
And that brings us to Section 3, spotting your AI patterns. We're moving from simply ranking our tools to extracting the deep, traveling patterns from your capstone experience. What kind of patterns are we actually looking for here? Well, first, tool tendencies, like noticing a specific model always over-formalizes its prose unless you give it a super strict tone constraint. Second, your own personal habits. Where do you personally tend to cut corners on fact-checking? Third, the interaction itself. When did a specific combo of a feature, a prompt, and a verification step produce actual magic? Realizing you have a recurring habit across all platforms is infinitely more valuable than declaring one specific AI model the quote-unquote best. Remember, patterns travel with you. Platform rankings are going to be obsolete by next Tuesday.
Now, let's put those patterns to work in Section 4, the Ultimate AI Toolkit. This is where we take your newly observed behaviors and update the ultimate operating manual for your daily professional life.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that I am going to make a very, very bold claim right here. This upcoming piece of documentation, it is the single most valuable artifact in the entire course, period. Better than the Capstone project itself. Why? Because it is literally the blueprint for your daily life with AI tomorrow, next week, and next month. In your personal toolkit's decisions table, you're going to have rows for specific everyday tasks, like drafting prose or grabbing high-stakes facts. But crucially, there is a row for tasks you should absolutely not use AI for. Think about it. You can't outsource a sensitive apology or determining your core life strategy. For each task, you just note which tool you'll reach for and exactly why. This personal calibration data beats any expert opinion on the internet, hands down, because it's built on your own real evidence. It's uniquely yours. which flows perfectly into Section 5, the final reflection. This is the fifth and final exercise, pulling everything together into your formal submission.
The goal here? Distill the whole experience down onto one single page. This template covers your chosen tool stack, what genuinely surprised you, and what you'd do differently if you had to start over. But my absolute biggest piece of advice for this? Write it empathetically as a note to your future self. Actually picture yourself 3 months from now, staring at a blank screen, desperately needing this present tense memory of what actually worked and what spectacularly failed. They'll thank you for it, for sure.
And that perfectly sets up our final stop, Section 6, Life After the Course. Let's zoom way out from the granular workbook exercises and look forward at your ongoing practice of AI fluency in the real world.
I want to be completely transparent with you about what is still going to be hard. Maintaining verification discipline on those massive wall of text outputs? Hard. Resisting the reflex to use AI when you really shouldn't? Hard. And keeping your AI's memory hygiene clean so it doesn't hallucinate context from some random project you finished a month ago? Yeah, also hard. I'm deliberately highlighting these friction points to reassure you. If you're struggling with these things, it doesn't mean you're failing. It actually means you are now an advanced practitioner. You've hit the level where improvement only comes from daily, messy practice.
Let's turn all this into a concrete game plan. Over the next month, force yourself to actually use your toolkit table. Do real work in your structured workspaces. And over the next year, revisit that toolkit table every single quarter. Run a mini personal capstone every 6 months just to test drive new models. And read the field lightly. Seriously, ignore the daily noise on social media. This timeline guarantees your new skills are going to compound rather than just atrophy.
I want to leave you with this really powerful thought from the source text. The specific tools will rise and fall. The version of you doing this in 5 years will look very different from the version of you finishing this lesson today, but the practice underneath will be the same. That's what fluency means. The models are inevitably going to change, but your structured judgment won't. So as you update your toolkit today, I have one question for you. What inherently human-shaped task will you deliberately practice tomorrow just to make sure the machine never takes your edge? Keep learning, keep reflecting, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.